Hey, everybody, what is up? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast, a podcast that analyzes pop culture, ranging from video games to anime to comics to trading cards, whatever you enjoy, from the good, the bad, the ugly, maybe even sometimes the old supernatural, the old spiritual stuff. I like some of that stuff because you kind of do some research and stuff, you can find some interesting stuff. Or if you're just curious about like where the origin goes and stuff like that, pretty entertaining stuff. I did not start off my intro because I'm gay and StreamYard's got me real good.
You can
But
play it now.
super excited to have this guest on. I've
Oh,
been wanting her on for a while, and that is Nina Infinity. Nina, thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out.
oh, of course, Greg. It's really good to finally be on here. And I've always seen you on in my chat. You're a big supporter, and you've asked me for a while to come on. And life has been going on so crazy, and
Oh,
things happen. And I put it
mhm.
off for long enough. And I was like, you know what, I gotta go on Greg's show. There's a bunch of people that have asked me to come on, and I'm trying to be better at making time to go on different shows because I think it's important to kind of like first of all, put yourself out there, but also,
Mhm.
you guys are so nice and supportive of me. So I want to be supportive of you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's one of the things when coming into doing this sort of thing, and especially if you feel like the gifts you've been given call you to do something like this and whatnot, is I've learned a lot of
Hmm.
networking and being, and but more importantly, being transparent. Like
Hmm.
transparency is what I try to give off. What you see is not an act sort of thing. Because I can't tell you like how many people, like the big people you see, later on will post a video talking about how they felt so trapped that they can't be themselves and stuff. And to me it's just like, well, why put up an act? Just be
Hmm.
yourself. And not everyone in the world's going to like you, so like don't cater to them. They're not, there's no point to it.
There isn't a point. You and I get along in that sense because I'm like that too. Like what you see is what you get if you meet me in
Hmm.
real life, which some people have now. Like for example, Anna, and that Star Wars girl, and Chrissy Mayer, and certain other people have met me now, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're the same person." So
No, that's good.
I
That's
just I don't have the energy to be somebody else. Honestly, like it takes a lot of effort and energy to like do a character, and I'm not that great of an actress. I tried when I was in high school, like I went on into drama and stuff like that. I was like,
same
I'll
here.
try. And then I ended up liking improv a lot, but then what I ended up doing a lot more was actually go backstage and start like being like, I'm gonna be the prop person, and like, all the like I like the magic to like to make the
Hmm.
magic happen versus like being the actress on stage because I was like, it's too exhausting to pretend to be somebody else all the time. It's just
that's
not gonna happen.
That's awesome because I was in drama as well too. I loved acting. I still do. Because I'm located in Texas, and my best friend and I, who he's he's kind of the reason why I started this show, because he was climbing up behind the voice acting area, and
Mm.
he got canceled for wrong think. He got canceled
Ooh.
for old Corona Chan and treatment to cure or negate said Corona Chan. That
Oh
wasn't
my
good at
god.
the
You
time,
know,
but
you
now
can talk about that now on YouTube. It doesn't
can
matter
we?
anymore.
Can we? I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, ivermectin. He shared he shared a piece where a doctor who straight up was like, "Look, like everyone's saying it doesn't work. I tried it with my patients and it worked for me. So we shouldn't just ignore it, sort of thing." But Orange Man
Mhm.
said it was good, so
Mm.
immediately said it's bad. So he kind of got backlash from that. And for actually some of my friends that we used to hang out with all the time, that nipped that bud because they had Trump deranged syndrome happen there. And
That's
and
rough,
then
man.
later on when the whole Kick Vic thing happened, he got canceled again because he went on Nick's show to talk about
Ricada.
it. And
Sure.
that's kind of what happened. I'm gonna let me see. I want to change my background and I want to see if this will kick us. Let me see. It didn't. Awesome. Sweet.
Ooh.
Now the thing is, some people might be going, Greg, haven't you done enough shows enough to not be super retarded about stuff? And the answer is yes. That is very, very true. But for some reason, I always seem like I'm always like, oh, I got to be careful. I used to use a, a thing called Melon, which was just a cheaper version of StreamYards. They got bought out by Streamlabs,
Um,
and for some of my guests, they just couldn't connect with StreamYards. They could connect easily, so it's like, well, I did some finagling and was like, hey, give me the price that these guys were giving me from you guys, and they're like, yeah, sure, we can work that out, sort of thing. But that's awesome about acting and participating in drama, because that's what I did in high school too. And it's always interesting of finding that the difference of still being able to create a final product in a piece, but having different roles and different parts and stuff like that. Because
mhm.
I actually took improv at Second City as well too. I don't know if do you know Second City at all? Sort of.
No.
Okay, Second City is kind of like the training of improv, like the big
Okay.
house of training for improv that a lot of people from SNL got their start off,
Oh,
sort
okay.
of thing.
Okay.
Because
Gotcha.
I used to live in Illinois, so up in Chicago, sort of thing. And then, of course, Illinois being the garbage dumpster fire of a state that it is,
Oh.
I said I had to leave, sort of thing. Like,
Sure.
what I want to do is I
Understandable.
can't do it here, sort of thing.
Where are
But
you now, if you don't mind my asking? I don't know if you're
Texas.
announcing that you don't have to. Oh,
Oh
okay.
no, Texas. Oh,
Cool.
I think I've more than positive I've accidentally doxed myself already. So, but it doesn't matter anyway. I don't
Are
care.
you
I'm in Texas.
enjoying Texas? Do you like Texas?
Yeah, I love it, but I've been battling allergies so bad. I
Oh.
recently just got like feeling sinus congestions in the ear, and then developed tinnitus from it, the ringing sensation, and
Oh,
it hasn't gone
no.
away yet. And I've already been to the doctor and was like, please tell me, like, I hope this isn't like what you hear some people say. It's like I woke up and then I couldn't hear anymore, but I think we're
Oh
good.
my god.
So
Has anyone told you that I know this is gonna sound weird, and it's gonna sound like phrasing,
lay
but
it
has
on.
anyone told you the trick to do the head between the knees?
No, I have heard of cupping your ears and then with your fingers kind of like this, flicking the back to make the decibel noises to kind of adjust it.
Okay.
They've also recommended like spoon tapping.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna recommend to you the head between the knees.
Okay.
And all it is because I have ear problems too, but my ear problems are like usually because of like pressure change. So
Yeah.
I'm really, 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 really sensitive to pressure change. So
Mm.
sometimes like I'll have it's like as if I'm getting off a plane all the time and then it'll
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pop and then it'll like be really loud and then whatever.
I hate it.
So sometimes when that happens to me, I found out that you can do this trick where you're standing up and you just simply bend over and put your head between as your knees as far as you can go. And then you speak, like say something, and then it fixes it. It fixes it immediately. It's an immediate fix.
I'm not gonna do it now, but
But that's what you do. And you can bend your knees and everything, but it's the I think it's the because when you bend
mhm,
down and you're putting your head down like that, it's the blood goes into your head and it just kind of fixes your sinuses or
mhm.
whatever. It kind of like balances you out. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. I just know it
The
works.
the science behind it is what I was told and kind of what I looked at is that there's nerve connections, and
Mhm.
then when those get damaged and like it's kind of like a coil, and when the lining gets damaged and it gets exposed, your brain then it's kind of like turning up a radio, well to where it's like it's not I'm the level isn't as what I remember it, so we need to turn it up a little bit.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like when you turn up a radio, like you're in the car or whatever, you'll turn it up, it'll hear louder and kind of balance it out, but you hear that hiss from the static. So your brain is actually
Um,
making it, sort of thing, is what I was told. But then I found stuff to where people go, honestly, if you get a lot of like rub your ears, get the blood flowing again and stuff,
mhm.
you
Mhm.
can re-heal it, sort of thing. So
Very interesting. Very interesting.
very interesting indeed. But so I remember coming across your channel and discovering you. I think you were on Nick's show at one point, and I thought it was really fun. Thought you guys got,
Nick Rekida's show?
yeah, Nick
Is
Rekieta.
that how you found me through
I
Nick
believe,
Rekieta? Wow.
I believe so. Yes. Because all tons of chaos was happening too. That dirty birdie, I've been trying to get a hold of him, but that
He's impossible right now. I've been trying to get a hold of him too, but barely.
mm,
He's a dad. You know how it is.
true. I guess I can hold off the brutal beating, but
No, like I would say this. He's not even just a dad. He's a dad of 5 kids. It's one thing to have a kid, but
mhm,
when you have 5, that's a lot, man.
mhm.
Like it's a
Well,
lot of work.
I've fortunately got to meet Nick at the first anime Matsuri and stuff like
Oh,
that. So
cool.
so I got to meet him and chat with him and actually when Eric got canceled, he was actually in Dallas and we went out and when there was like a little gathering and stuff, I got to meet a lot of other people too. So really humbled and blessed
Cool.
about that. But you were on the show, and so then I was like, I like Nina. She gives off a
Oh.
good vibe. I love it. Very true, transparent. I have a weird I personally think it's a gift from God, but I
Hmm.
kind of can sense people who are wholesome and true and stuff, and you were definitely giving off that vibe for me. So I was like, let's
Oh.
check out Nina. And then you were playing a game, and all of your characters were named InuYasha, and I'm like, I already love Nina already because I love
It was
InuYasha.
Conan.
Conan, yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I
it.
was making all
Conan.
the InuYasha characters. I was like, "Oh, I could just," and it was because it was funny. I was rewatching it at the time, and I was like, "I can make them all again." And it was fun.
Well, yeah, I kind of want to like talk about that as well, because I loved InuYasha sort of thing, and
Me
with
too.
some of the guests I've had on, Vic, Ruben Langdon, and Doug Tanaple, and I'm just naming these people just because not to showboat or anything, but
God, such a name dropper. No, I'm
I
just
know,
joking.
right? I'm a little bitch, but uh, they were people who worked in different parts of the industry because part of the show for me is the flame of nostalgia is dying. It is
Mhm,
dying because it's being infested with a bunch of bullshit and capitalizing on franchises that people don't care about. And I
mhm,
feel it is up to us to rekindle that flame, to reignite it, to spark it again, and to find the good in everything as well. But also not just ignore, because you can't just ignore the stuff that's happening because it's not going to get fixed into it
mm-mm,
too. And hearing from people with Doug, he was in the video game industry. Ruben
mhm.
Langdon, he's in the acting, like motion cap video game industry, and Vic with the voice acting. I said, when did this stuff happen? Like, did you guys ever notice it? And so far everyone has agreed with me that the year like the 90s and early 2000s were the best of the best because none of the stuff was happening and it was all kept, and some have said any problems was kept behind the scenes and worked out that way. It did not affect the product. It's not part of the job description, but unfortunately it's become that. But Inuyasha was one of them that I just it's just so fondly of my childhood and my high school times and stuff. What got you into Inuyasha?
I was an anime freak. So I watched. I was actually on it because it was in Canada. So I got it was on TV. It was on. I think it was on YTV. I'm not sure if it was YTV or something. It was one of the channels, which
Hmm.
didn't predominantly focus on anime because you know how anime wasn't very popular back in the day. Certainly not when I was growing up. Um, and but I just caught a rare glimpse of like, oh, this anime is starting, and I was like, oh, yay, a new anime, let's check it out. And fell in love like from the first minute that I watched the show. And I remember I watched like the first episode that ever aired on TV in Canada, and then I was like, I'm hooked, like I'm in for the ride. Unfortunately didn't have an ending at the time, which is really important to me. And of course this is why I'm one of those I get very scarred from animes that don't have an ending. So,
Hmm.
because that happened, I went and read the manga because I was like, I need this ending. And Rumiko Takahashi, the creator of Inuyasha, had finished the anime or the manga. I mean, excuse me. At the time, I had it wasn't finished yet. Excuse me. It was actually like almost done, but she
Hmm.
was still working on it, and the chapters were coming out. And that was part of the reason that they didn't have the anime, like had to stop.
Mhm.
as it usually is, like with Full Metal Alchemist and a lot of other examples I could go off on.
Mm,
But
yeah.
and so she finally finished it though, and then when she finished it, I read the whole thing, and then years later they came back with the final act, which was great. Like I'm so glad that
Oh, I
they
am
were
too.
able to finish it. I mean, it skimmed over a lot of stuff, but I was like, at least we get an ending. I'm happy. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember. Yeah, because I remember when Final Act came out, and it kind of resparked everything, and I'm like, this is amazing too. And then I went back and read all the manga too, and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And I was like, oh yeah, they're like skimming out on a lot of stuff.
Did you by any chance happen to check out the new one though, Yasha Hime?
I remember when I first came across your channel, and we talked about it a little bit. I watched a couple episodes, and the
Oh
charm is
boy.
just not. It's just not there.
I gotta say, I was actually shocked. Like
Really.
like deeply shocked because I
Mhm.
know that Rumiko Takahashi worked on it herself. Now
Mhm.
she's getting older, mind you, so I don't think she was like working on it herself. She was probably just there as in an advisory capacity because she's like, whatever, I've made my money, I don't give a fuck, you know. But either way, that show is horrible. Like to a point where I was like, this is one of the first examples that I can probably name that Japanese anime becoming woke, quote unquote. I would say that InuYasha Yasha Hime is a woke anime, which is very rare to see. And I kind of pretend now that it didn't happen. Like I've just kind of like wiped the story from my mind and been like, nah,
Mhm.
doesn't exist. I'm done. Like Inuyasha just ended where it ended for me, and that's it. I just pretend it doesn't happen.
So, I feel like it sounds like you went more into it because
I
I only
watched like half of season 1, and then I was like, I'm done. I can't
okay,
do it.
because I watched up until when the old crew finally shows up, and then I just
Mm.
kind of stopped, and I think that was only like 12
I think it was
episodes.
like, yeah, I don't know. It was pretty early on in
So,
the first
what
season.
what would you say that about it when you mentioned that it was a woke anime, like, are like, the main characters? Because
The main
definitely
character,
really the main chick
the
or
main
whatever.
shit. I don't even know if it's a chick. I mean, I don't even remember what she was at this point. I think she because they talk about that. Like they're like
Do they
they
really?
actually yeah they actually mention about gendering.
Oh,
Like they were like,
that
I'm a girl even though I look like a boy or something. I don't know. Some weird thing about gendering was mentioned. It's a recollection because like I said,
mhm.
I just try to pretend that show doesn't exist. But there was definitely some things about it that I was like, "Oh my god, this is terrible." Like it's just like it's nothing at all remotely close other than the basically that they're anime characters that look like Inuyasha characters. There's nothing remotely close to what was it's in the story, and I think part of it also is that the Inuyasha story was very deeply tied to the Shikon jewel. So once the
Mhm.
Shikon jewel's gone, it's like what's even the fucking point?
Y
Like I don't know. Like it's like you've
it's
told your story. It's done now.
exactly because Naraku was literally the demon, and yet he wasn't even the strongest. What made Naraku, terrible was he was a manipulator. He was
Hmm.
literally like the puppet master. That's what made him so scary, and then when he finally got the Shikon jewel, then he
Well, he was
actually
originally Onigumo, and Onigumo was the
mhm,
human version, and that's like the.
mhm,
I mean, I don't know how deeply you want to go into Inuyasha, but I always thought that it was a really fascinating tale of, because I think there's a lot of symbology in that show. So the
mm,
like Onigumo being the human version of ourselves, we all have that demon within us. It's like that's why
mhm,
they touch upon a lot of that kind of stuff within Inuyasha as well. Of course, Inuyasha being the half demon, and then
mhm.
Sashomaru finding his humanity, even though he can't be fully human. Um, I think it's like that was that's why I find Naraku very interesting. At the end of the day, I think he's one of the best villains ever written or created in all of the history of villains, anime, TV, movie,
Wow.
all of it. I think he is. For me, he's number one on top.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously Vader and stuff, sure, like the Emperor, like whatever, but he's on par. And a lot of people don't understand how deeply manipulative and crazy and intense this character is, because
Hmm.
there is no redeeming quality in Naraku. And even at the very end, like his very last line was, it was, I think it was, I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but it was something like, I I did it all, and I wouldn't change anything, but it was all because of the jewel, the Shikon
Hmm.
jewel kinda, like,
Yep.
made me do it. And I still don't even, I don't quite believe that. I think it was he himself that tried, like, he is what made the Shikon jewel the darkest. So it's a very, like, I just find, InuYasha very interesting, and that's why I actually rewatched it again very recently,
Nice.
because I think in your lifetime, you'll go through watching certain things. And as you grow older, you're going to find that you see things that you saw before in a different light. Like, you're going to look at them in a different way.
Hmm.
That's why rewatching things is actually a good idea, to see how much you've progressed as a person yourself.
Hmm.
And so when I watched Inuyasha the first time, I was so young and naive, and a lot of it was more fun, like, in terms of, like, "Oh, look, fun anime," and, like, "Kagome's so cute," and, "I hate that Kikyo bitch," and, like, whatever, like, all the stuff that's, like, very surfacey. But then, like, as you grow older and you're starting to look at actually, like, the message behind what you're being shown, I found that Inuyasha was an incredibly spiritual story, and was part of the reason that I vibe with it in the beginning, from the beginning, was because I was going through a really, really, really hard time at the time. And I
Mm.
think it spoke to me in a spiritual sense, because, like I said, we all battle demons all the
Hmm.
time. Like, this is, it's part of us.
No, that's very beautiful too, and that's kind of why I with this show and kind of the stuff I look at as well is the whole kind of the satanic panic sort of thing. Is these people paint a broad stroke and go, "This is bad for you. This is evil," and stuff. It's like, well, first of all, it's one thing to understand the origins of where a lot of stuff came from. But second of all, if you honestly think that everybody who ever makes this has some secret agenda to trick people into doing, like, straight up, like, Full Metal Alchemist, create a philosopher, or the
Yeah, yeah,
Bloodstones.
yeah.
Like, if you're
Mhm.
going that route, like, number one, you're crazy. Number two, you don't even know what you're spewing half the time. You're just regurgitating whatever you heard from someone else. But that's what I love about anime and stuff like that, is just you can still find that deep meaning and stuff. Because I was going through the same thing too in high school. I was very angry and very bitter about a lot of stuff, and I was able to at least control it enough. Not, I mean, in the end, I failed when it came to it. I was very, very twisted emotionally at that time, but thankfully through anime, I was able to at least find a venue to at least express my frustration by just
Sure.
watching someone
Mhm.
else do it too. And I love what you said, like with Naraku as well, because that's why I said, even though he's technic like, in terms of actual strength of, like, a demon and stuff like that, I mean, let's face it, Sesshomaru is probably the strongest person in the show. Like,
Yeah.
he is ridiculous, but what
Mhm.
made Naraku so terrible was, 1, he was human,
Mhm.
but yet and he wanted to be a demon and
Mhm.
took parts of the demon in himself and had that uneven balance of
Mhm.
wanting
And
to throw.
of course, like, one of my favorite characters in that show is Kagura, which is part of him. And
Yeah,
I think, like,
exactly.
her evolution of finding out that that's not what
What
she
up,
wants
Cass?
to be, um, is really fascinating. Like, there's so many great characters that you could do, like, character studies on, and
Mhm,
see, like, their evolution and how they evolved the way they did. It's just a really fascinating show in general. It's one of those shows where you don't really think, and also especially because it's shonen as well, you
mhm,
just think, like, "Oh, this is such a kiddie," like, really, like, kinda like, I mean, and again, no offense to Dragon Ball, but it kind of looks like a very Dragon Ball-esque kind of show, because there's a lot of fighting in the air, and like, a lot of, like, fast-paced movements. Whereas in
mhm.
the show is very deep. Like it's got a deep message and a deep story, and it does slow
Oh,
down. There's a lot of slow down.
yeah, I would
In
tell
it.
you right away. Dragon Ball doesn't have a deep story. It provides enough. It provides enough. And Greg took that personally. I took that very personally. You're not
I know.
seeing
I
the
feel bad because I know Flash is like very into that too, and I tried to be very like
what you're not seeing on screen is the blood dripping from my hand as my
you're like
fist.
you're having an anime like nosebleed as we're speaking right now.
My
You're like,
hands are sore from the beatings I am currently giving out underneath my desk, and not
hey, no
sexually, by the way.
disrespect, no disrespect.
And not sexually, by the way, not that beating sort of thing. So we'll say that too. You said symbology, and I couldn't help but think of the Boondock Saints.
What's the symbology there?
Symbology.
I feel like I have to watch that movie again. It's been a long.
It's probably one of my top favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
I love it's very guerrilla footage because if you look behind the scenes of the Boondock Saints, they didn't have a big budget. It didn't do well when it came out. It became a cult classic due to DVD
Mhm,
and stuff. But it gives off that Rocky that if you ever listen to Sylvester Stallone give stories
mhm,
about how he made Rocky and how he had little to no money, he wasn't
mhm,
gonna sell it. He wanted to be the main guy and
mhm,
stuff like that. And he had a limited budget, and it feels that those type of movies do really well even if they don't knock it off at the beginning because of that limitation, but that passion of wanting to make the best that you can and stuff like that. Because movies nowadays, now it's just, well, we got to make sure we make our money back from all the advertising we're doing
mhm.
and banking on the franchises, and now you have unoriginal hot piece of human flesh and all that
It's
stuff
bad.
because everything's garbage.
Including Yasha Hime. I'm telling you, I was devastated, man. I was devastated. Like,
Well, I guess I avoided it because I only got up to X amount to where I kind of fizzled off. That actually really makes me sad though. Did you ever play InuYasha and Secret of the Cursed Mask?
no. I
I have
wish I
all the
did.
InuYasha games because I'm
I
a
never
freak.
played any of them. No.
Oh, I played the crap out of the Secret of the Curse of the Secret Mask. It's an
That's cool.
RPG, and I 100% completed that sucker. Got
What
all
was it
the
on?
PlayStation 2.
See, I never had a PlayStation 2, so I miss a lot of those games.
Mm.
I got PlayStation 3, and then since like then I haven't had a PlayStation.
Did you like grow up with like
I grew up with Nintendo. I'm a
Nintendo?
Nintendo girl all my life, and then I worked for them. So
That's
Nintendo's
actually
been a
something
huge part of my life. Um,
I'm kind of definitely interested in hearing because I wanted to hear from you specifically. Yeah, how did that come about with Nintendo? Because I grew up with Nintendo.
um,
I had a weird thing because I had Nintendo and then jumped to Sega Genesis, then jumped to N64, then to PS2, all the way up to 360, and then kind of started recollecting everything and stuff like that. But yeah, can you share a
I have
little bit
a
about
weird
that?
history of gaming. So because I grew up in Iran, like in Iran, you don't get a lot of this stuff. But once in a blue moon, like somebody from somewhere has gone to the West, which we call anything like outside of Iran, basically. Like you've gone to the West or whatever, and you like
Journey to the West.
it could be like you've gone to England or Syria even at the time because Syria was like big part of uh like basically like an outside like not theology right like not in that vein. So if you've gone to the outside, if you've gone to the West and you come back and you've got like some sort of console or whatever, somebody would have one. So I think like I started my video game journey with like I think it was Sega Genesis at first. Like we had that. What was the game? You must know. It's like a car racing game where like I don't even know what it's called. I should know. This is embarrassing. But it's like one of those car racing games where like the lights like disappear as it's going. It's like a
Yeah, I know what you're talking
you know
about.
what I'm talking about,
I know
right?
what you're talking about. I can't think of the name because I never had that because we played our Sonic or had people who played
We
Sonic.
had Sonic as well. Like that's kind of like where I started. Like I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, this is cute." Like I didn't know what the hell it was, but that's kind of like where we would I'd seen whatever, but I was so young. So like when I moved to Canada when I was 10, then I kind of learned about video games in general.
Hmm.
So my first start was like Super Nintendo, and like one of my babysitters had like Mario, and like we had the Aladdin game, and I went crazy for the Aladdin game
I
because
had the
I
Sega
was
Genesis version.
obsessed. Yeah, see, I was obsessed with Aladdin, so I was like, "This is
Same
my
here.
game. Like, I will play this." The Lion King game, which was like amazing,
Yep, same
like that,
here.
like the Simba one,
Same.
Yeah. So
I-
then I started playing those. Sorry, you're gonna ask
No,
me
no,
something.
go. No, it's your time. Go ahead.
I started playing those, and then but my mom, she was one of those moms. I love you, mom, if you're watching. 'Cause she knows I'm on the show right now. Hi. But if you, but like so, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. Either way, she wouldn't get me one because she was like, you need to spend time reading and studying and all the stuff that you hear from parents, like
Yeah, true.
do anything, make money from this when you grow older. And also video games are a waste of time. Like, stop it, kind of thing. So she wouldn't get me one, and to be fair, it was very, very expensive at the time. And my mom was like, a single mom, and
Oh yeah.
trying
Hmm.
to pay the bills, and she's like, I'm not
Mm.
getting you a freaking Nintendo. So
Hmm.
like I would go to different people's houses and play, and one of the places I went to play was Toys R Us. So like I would just go to Toys R Us where they had the full model, and back then they didn't have demo games, they had the full games on the thing. So I would just spend all day, like 8 hours a day, playing this game. I had my own save game, and I would like
Nice.
leave when like other people would come to try it. I would get out of my saved game and then go to like a new game for them, and then they would be like, "Okay, I guess I could play it on this." I'm like, "Sorry, I'm gonna have to get out of the game because this is where I am. You can't mess around with my game."
Mm,
It was so funny. So then
mm.
that's where I played like all of Donkey Kong and some of like some Mario stuff, and then like later on. When I think I was like around 13 when we finally got the internet, because that was when the internet was coming out. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm that old where like there was no internet and then there was internet. Back in the Napster days. So
Good
then
old Napster.
I know, right? And so then
Kazaa.
we got, yeah, because oh my god, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had one of those PCs that was like the flat PCs, and you had your like, the monitor on top of the monitor.
Oh
It
yeah.
was my mom's computer. She'd gotten it for like office work or whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna play games on this because apparently you can play games on PC. So I made my mom take me to like a video game store, and I rented like this, not quotes. I actually did rent. I rented a PC game, and it was Batman. I was like, "Oh, I like
Wow. Cool.
Batman. Like, let me see if I can play this." So then I go home, and I'm like, how do you even play this? Because it's not like the Nintendo where you just stick it in and it starts. I stick it in because it was a big, big old floppy disk, like one of
Did
those.
you need the instruction manual to
Of
type in the
course,
code?
yes, of course, but even more, you had to go to DOS, and you had to put like X, Y, whatever. Like you had to put like all
Oh
these
my
codes and the
goodness.
prompts and
I remember
all
that.
these
Yep.
different things. It took me, brother, it took me like at least 3 hours to set this thing up because it was my first game ever. It was the first
Jeez.
time ever I was doing anything like this. And there was no internet. There was a Google, like, where you could be like, show me how to do this.
Good game.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, anyways, so I had to literally sit there and follow the directions. It took me like 3 hours to install it. I finally did. And I like, the moment it finally like popped up like Batman, I was like, it was as if having like I was like having an orgasm. I was like, I'm done. Like I could have a cigarette right now and like just yeah, I'm like, I'm done. Like I don't even want to play it anymore because I succeeded at the puzzle of installing this game.
How was
So
that
that
for you,
was
Batman?
yeah, so it was a really fun game to play too at the time, but I think that the journey was what was the most interesting one. So that was a great memory. It was a very accomplishing feeling of
That's yeah,
doing
it
that.
was like it's amazing on how even just getting the game started is an accomplishment of itself back
Yeah.
in the day too. And like I had something similar too. I wasn't so much into PC games. Like I remember like the very first game that I remember that was PC that I actually still have a copy of, and because I think it came with it was Doom 2.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, we
Yeah.
had Doom 2. My folks were both teachers, so they had like reading games, and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I love that
I
game.
love that game.
Love
Oh, that was
Where
a
in the
good
World. So
game.
I know exactly about trying to go into
I love that
DOS.
show too, the cartoon. I grew up on that show.
Oh, absolutely. I still love that intro. So catchy.
Same.
But we had something similar too, to where, because I was with Sega Genesis, my friends that we knew, they had a Super Nintendo. So did you ever have console trades? Because every time we would come in on
No, yeah, I
like
know.
a
Yeah.
gathering, we would come in at church and we would have, okay, here you can have our Sega Genesis for a week, and we got your
Yeah, and
Super
then you get the
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
And we
That's great.
played Aladdin, and Aladdin Super Nintendo and Sega
Mhm.
Genesis version are very different.
I had heard that, but I only played the Super Nintendo version,
Oh,
so I didn't know.
they're both really, really good.
That's
And
cool.
and it's funny that you mentioned the Lion King, because they purposely made Lion King that level 2
Mhm.
with the monkeys. They purposely made it difficult so people would rent it again. And I am proud to say that I beat that sucker rented.
Oh, good job.
I figured it out.
Oh, good job.
You
Yeah,
got to
because I
roar at
remember
them
I
to face
struggled.
different ways.
Yeah, I struggled a lot, and that one I was there was a lot of like controller throwing around at the time. I was like, can't get this. But yeah, so like fast forward later on in my life, I got laid off from Future Shop, which was basically like the Best Buy of Canada, because they were closing shop, and I was I was a TV salesperson there. And like I was actually the head of entertainment in there,
Oh,
or not entertainment, head of TVs and audio and like all that stuff.
make a pitch to
And
me right now.
make a pitch.
Yep.
Oh God, I don't. Depends on what you want. You want Samsung, LG, all that stuff. Like, I don't know. What's funny is I had this really sexist dude come in, try and buy a TV from me.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, it was great. Cause this is such a great story. Cause he was like, I don't like, cause he was like this old dude. And he was like, there's no way you know anything about TVs. Like, there's like, I don't want to like, he's like, look, like, no
You weren't
offense.
trained.
No, but he was like, "Look, no offense, but you're a lady. Like, you're a woman. You don't know
Oh,
anything about TVs. I need a man to
he
talk
took
to."
that knife and just went straight in.
Oh yeah, and I
Oh
was like,
my
"Okay,"
gosh.
and I just went like, "Okay," but I'm like, "I totally get it, and I will get you a salesperson, no
Mhm,
problem. But just ask me the question you're going to ask the man. Like,
mhm.
just humor me. Like, I will get you the man, but just humor me and ask me the question, and let me see if I can answer it." And he was just like, "Okay, fine. Like, what's frame rate per second on this TV or whatever?" And I'm like, "The FPS on this TV is blah 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 blah." Like, and I went off, and I was like, "It would depend on what you want. Like, this one says a thicker back, but it's because blah blah blah." I went into like this whole thing,
Mhm.
and he was so impressed that he ended up buying like $20,000 worth of TVs from me, because
Dang.
he was this rich dude that was like, he had a well, he had a plane, he owned a plane, and we had a little small city airport.
Mm.
And so he had bought like a giant like, I can't explain, like a hangar bay. And
Oh,
like he
I
was,
okay, I
yeah,
get it,
like
yeah.
yeah, like, and he was turning his hangar bay into kind of like a man cave for himself. So he was like, I want to put like TVs in all of the hallways
Wow.
leading up to the thing. This was a rich dude, so he had
Yeah.
come there to make a big purchase. And so, and anyways, he ended up like buying from me because he was so impressed that he was like, I don't need another man. Actually, you're fine, and you're very pretty." I was like, this is the best. Like,
Oh,
that's how you turn sexist people
there you
to
go.
being not sexist, by proving that you can do something with your capabilities, like, better than, not better, or like, as good as a man would.
And
And
being super
I didn't
hot.
take any offense. I was just like, I will totally get you a dude, but at least give me a shot. So anyways, after I got laid off from Future Shop because they were closing shop, I was jobless for a while. That's when I went to actually did my English as a second language teacher, because my husband and I were talking about discussing wanting to move.
Mhm.
So I went and got that. But at the same time, all of a sudden, Nintendo contacted me because, well, I saw like a Nintendo listing for like a sales rep or whatever, merchandising coordinator. And so like I was like, I'm gonna apply just for fun. Like, this is such a weird job. I think I have a shot. Why not? Like, I'm as good as anybody. Why not? So I sent it in, and several months later, I got an email, like an official email from Nintendo of Canada, and they asked me to come in for an interview,
Wow.
and I did, and then they asked me for a second interview, and I went, and then they hired me about 6 weeks after that, which was weird because when you go for an interview and then they don't call you back ever again,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're like, well, I totally didn't get that. But
Mm-hmm.
then they did call me back and they hired me, but it was such a long span of time that
Oh
happened
man,
before that I was
making
like,
you
I
sweat.
totally didn't get it. Yeah. And and it was so weird too, because at the interview, I was like, I nailed this interview. Like, I've got this job. And then I didn't hear this. I didn't hear back for like weeks. And then finally they like emailed me and they're like, congratulations, you've been hired. And I was like, ah. And then they called me. They're like, call us at this number and blah, blah, blah. And then I went training, blah, blah, blah. That's when I became the head of merchandising for all of British Columbia. So that's what I was doing. I was their Nintendo sales rep, but I also that's not a word, taught. I also taught little kids or big kids how to play Nintendo games. That was my job. So I was
Oh
doing
wow.
exactly what I was doing in Toys R Us when I was like 10, 12 years old.
You were prepping all that
I
time.
was prepping the entire time
N-
for that moment where I became a Nintendo rep and I started teaching people how to play
See,
video
Mrs. Infinity.
I
It all
know.
worked out in the end.
Well, and then now too, she laughs all the time because like whenever I stream games and I make money on doing that, she's like, I didn't see it coming. She's like,
That's
I
kind
just
of
didn't
like
see it.
that's kind of what my folks like are. They're really, I mean, I love them. Never had a problem with them. Good family upbringing and stuff. But it's hard to explain to them like a
Mhm.
field because they were teachers. Once you get your degree, you simply apply to teaching positions, and whichever one's
Mhm.
the best one, you take it and you go there. Me,
Yeah.
I was the acting, the artistic kid. I didn't, I like being able to express myself, but yet I like repetition and stuff like that, and just all that stuff. And it's hard to explain to them where you don't have that 9 to 5 stability sort of thing because sometimes you just don't know sort of
Mhm.
thing. Like
Mhm.
you have to work harder to do it, and you have to keep doing it, even though it's at times you don't see any results for a while sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to do
Mhm.
that. But that's incredible that you were able to like that all just fell in place. That is awesome. Did you
Sometimes that's life.
did you keep like the man? Well, I don't know. I guess back in the day, you wouldn't be able to take like a screenshot with your cell phone or something. That'd be awesome if they had
Oh,
like.
well, no, no, no. I worked. I mean, we had smartphones when I worked at Nintendo. I mean, I kept a bunch of stuff
Oh,
from there, but
what
most of my stuff was in
did you say
Canada.
what time that was around? Did I just miss it?
No, it was I mean, it was a few years ago now. I don't know. It was about like because I was older, like when I got the
Oh,
job
okay, okay.
at Nintendo. It was, I don't know, like 20 I don't know I don't know when was Future Shop laid off.
Oh no, no, don't worry.
It was
I
it's
we
been so
got
long, but it's also been like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how like you lose track of time? I just feel so old right now because I'm like, man, I don't know.
we literally
I don't
started
want to
talking about the 90s, and here I am thinking we're back in the 90s when we got that job, and I was like, that's
Yeah, like
incredible. You can't.
yeah,
And then
no. I was much older then. It was like
okay,
fast
makes
forward.
sense. Yeah,
So
here I
I had
am just
several
going.
jobs before that happened. That was my ultimate job that I think worked up to my entire life as working as a in the customer service industry. It's been like I worked in customer service for over 20 years before I got that job.
That's
Because I started working since I was like 13, 14. My first job was in McDonald's. I
hmm
flipped them burgers, you know?
hey, you got to do what you got to do. No, I
Yeah.
like in customer service. I do tip my hat to people like that because me, especially with oh, definitely back in the day with my anger issues and stuff. I don't. It's so hard to like keep
It's
your mouth
difficult.
to do
Oh my
that.
god, I remember one McDonald's, like, memory where this one guy I mean, did you ever work at McDonald's or, like, any fast food place?
No, I worked off. I personally had a written rule to where it's like I do not want to do fast food. Like if I can do something else, I don't want to do
I
fast.
I
I started off
100%
as a
understand.
janitor, and then I actually became I did oil technician. I worked on
Oh,
cars
wow.
and stuff like that. You want to get treated like crap, be an oil technician because
But that was your first job?
the janitor was my first job, and then my
Okay.
friend who I did it got into being an oil technician, and he got me the other job over there,
Okay. Yeah,
sort
so
of
my
thing.
first job was McDonald's, and, like, in McDonald's or, like, any fast food, I would assume,
Hmm.
when you're about to close, obviously, you have to, like, shut down the grills, the fryer, all that stuff, like, you can't leave anything on, right? So
Hmm.
about, let's say, like, 10 o'clock is closing time or whatever, about, like, 9:45, you start shutting everything down, because you're not really expecting anybody to come like 15 minutes to order 50 fucking burgers, which is exactly what happened to me one night. Because I don't know if well, I don't know if they did it in the States or not, but in Canada, they had this like deal going on Wednesdays where it was like 59-cent burgers or something like that. It was like
Yeah,
49
we've
cent
had some weird
burgers.
stuff like that. Yeah, to where
Yeah.
you get
So
those deals.
yeah, I remember, like, it was one of those nights where it was, like, 59-cent burgers for whatever, and this mofo came in, like, literally, like, 5 minutes to closing time and was like, "I'm putting in an order for 50 burgers," and I was like, "Brother, I just shut this stuff down," and I was, like, in drive-through, so I couldn't even, like, look at them and be like, "Are you serious?" Like, so it was just like, Okay," but I was just like, "Okay, it's gonna have to be a while though because I just shut everything down, so all the grills are
Oh, I
cold."
can wait.
Yeah, oh, I could wait. I was like,
And in the meantime, you were
"Thanks."
just like,
Gay.
Yes, yes, I was so mad and annoyed. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
or
I
you
ended
could
up
have been
getting the
nice and just been.
Go yourself.
I really wish I could have, but I didn't. I had to do it, so I did, and then we got out of there really late that night because you have to clean up everything again, like, after you pick
Yep,
up damn
that's
food.
that's how it was with the oil technician. Our boss was that stingy to where he didn't want to factor in the cleaning after
Mhm.
the stuff, and so he would accept people like 1 minute to go, and here comes a diesel truck that holds 15 gallons of diesel
Don't you
oil
love that?
of yeah 1040 motor oil and all that crap, and they're annoying and they're big and it's yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I get it. That's why
I
I'm like,
understand.
I'm always like, "I've paid my dues," like,
That's how
first
I kind of
yeah.
look at it too. It did teach me a lot of patience, though. It did,
Yeah,
despite on how frustrating it was and how bitter I was, just in general.
I
It did teach
agree.
me patience for sure.
Like, me too. I mean, like, not that I was an angry person, but it does teach you, like, customer service, just generally speaking, like, teaches
Hmm.
you patience and,
Hmm.
just, like, grit and not losing your shit. I mean, you ever worked on a Black Friday, you deserve
Oh
my respect,
yeah,
you know?
and for me it's very interesting because I have ADHD and a very slight form of Asperger. So it's that connection part that I kind of don't like at times until I get to know the person and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And that's kind of why I really enjoyed acting because you can channel that through a character
Sure.
and you're
Mhm.
just playing you're playing a character. So that's kind of how like you can get to that. But then, of course when when your autism kicks in and you start to get really angry because it's like sort of thing. It's like, whoa, you gotta, take a
Yeah.
step back and
Too
stuff.
real, too real. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, but I kind of could get away with it with being the oil technician because I'll tell you what, like, again, I can relate to customer service. People treat oil technicians, at least where I was, as garbage. Like they're always trying to
Mm,
nickel, like you're just here to
that
try to nickel and
sucks.
dime me. You don't know what you're doing or that stuff. And yet they themselves don't even know a lot about cars, but they know better than you, sort of
Mm,
thing. So you kind of had
that's
that. And
always the
luckily my
case.
boss was at least cool enough to where and I was honest, like if I had to explain like, hey Harold, like if this customer calls in, this is what happened and stuff. And luckily he believed me and stuff
Mhm.
like that and stood by, you know, his
That's why
employees.
I really like, I just can't get behind. anyone who disrespects like people in the customer service or whatever. Like I try my very best. I even try to be one of those people who put stuff back. Like if you're going to the grocery store and then you grab something off the shelf that you change your mind, I
Yeah, I'm the
I
same
try to
thing.
go back to like all the way to put it back because I know what it's like
I
to
do
work with
that. I try to do that. There's been times where I failed, but
same,
we're
same, of
we're
course.
human.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really cool about your journey to Nintendo. And did like did you just after a while had to step away or
Well,
did
we were moving to Mexico, and
Oh,
then,
okay. Okay.
I made the decision to step down,
Mhm.
because I worked in the company for a while, like a long time, and I was so good at my job that they wouldn't promote me. So I was like,
No.
"Okay, I understand." They had a very good opportunity to promote me, and they didn't. So I was like,
Mm.
"Okay, well, I see how it is," and I decided to, like, put in my notice, and I was moving it back like, I was planning on moving to Mexico anyway, so it was just like that was kinda like the last straw because I was kinda, like, holding out, see where it goes. And I honestly, I don't know what would have happened if they had given me the job because then I would have been like, "Well, I don't think I wanna move then," and it would have been a
Mhm.
totally different direction that my life would take.
But
Um,
we all saw how Canada was going.
well, yeah, yes, that did happen, but, this was long before the COVID thing,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like, I mean, yes to the liberalism aspect of it because Vancouver was always like that, but no in a sense of, like, no one saw what happened
Well,
coming, you know?
my comment was more of the fact, like, well, now we know, now we see what happened there. So it's like
Yeah.
you
But I
super
mean, I
got.
saw the signs, and that's one of the reasons that we wanted
Mhm.
to move was because we were starting to see the signs, and we were
Oh,
like, "There's
really?
something going
Mm,
on here." Like,
mm.
it's starting to get real weird, real fast. And my husband's Persian too. We've been there and done that whole thing. So, sometimes when you see something, you can recognize it easier the second time around. And so we saw some things happening. We saw some signs, and we were like, well, maybe it's time to give somewhere else a try. And we ended up in Mexico, and I got no complaints.
No, that's great. That's great. So when did you kind of like saw like I guess content creation or being able to do this? When did like that sort of thing like you began to notice and you're like, maybe this is something that I wanted to,
Oh my
take a
god,
shot in
that's
or something.
that's a good question. Obviously my husband is my biggest supporter and
Mm,
wanted to encouraged me for a long time to do this, and I was
well, that's
always like,
awesome.
I don't wanna do it." I was always like, "I don't wanna do it. I don't know what you're talking about." Like, nobody would listen to me. Why would anyone listen to me? I don't have anything to say that people would like. So, I was just like, I don't know why. I guess I had, like, this shy mentality or whatever. And he's like, "No, people do this all the time. Like, there's so many people." I'm like, "Yeah, well, there's so many people doing it. Why should I why should I do it? Like, it doesn't matter." But I just had a really weird mentality about it, I guess, until he started to show me YouTube channels and stuff like that. And I saw, Anna, that Star Wars girl, was one of the first ones he introduced me to, and Gary from Roguerotic. And I was like, I was enamored. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And one of the first live streams I've ever been on, or like went on to see what was going on, was the Game of Thrones season finale that Gary was doing. And he had like 20,000 people in the chat. And I was like, there's people, like 20,000 people are watching this. Like, and I was like, this is so wild. And there's people talking, and there's people paying money. Like, people pay money to talk to somebody like online. This is so crazy. Like, it was just it was a crazy, because I was such a boomer. Like, I was like, this is the new thing now. It was a very boomer moment for me, because I was like, I can't believe this is what people do.
It's awesome.
So then I kind of became obsessed a little bit with like all the different channels. So I started subbing to everybody, including Nick, Ricada, and like, everybody else. And I was like, this is so interesting. And the most fascinating person to me was Anna, because Anna was a girl. And she was very vocal, and I really liked her point of view, and all the stuff that she was saying really resonated with me, especially about Star Wars, and like what's happened to Star Wars, because at that time I had already stopped watching Star Wars because of The Last Jedi. So I was like, oh my God, this girl's like talking about exactly what I've been feeling, and I've never put it into words, but now I know, like, there's
I have
other
not
people like
seen it
me.
yet.
Really? The Last Jedi, you still haven't seen it?
Well, hold on. Force Awakens, and then
Last
what's the
Jedi.
next one?
Last Jedi is the next one.
Oh, it is the last. What's the third one?
The Rise of
Rise of Sky.
Skywalker.
Oh,
I
Rise of
call it the
Skywalker. I
Rise
never
of
saw.
Ray Patine, but it's called the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Okay. I never saw Rise of Skywalker. See, that's how
Neither
much.
did I. I didn't
See,
watch
that's how
that.
much I care about what they did to it. And I'm not even a hardcore Star Wars fan, but
I
it
didn't
was
watch it either, Greg. I was like, after Last Jedi, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. Star Wars is dead.
my
I'm done.
roommate straight up told me, he's like, don't see it. Like, this is what happens. He's like, do you care if I
Eh.
spoil? I'm like, heck no, tell me.
Well,
Like,
I was keeping track of all the rumors that Doomcock was doing on like Reddit, like all the Reddit rumors and stuff. So I knew already what was going to happen too. But
oh
because
gosh.
you know how like all the Reddit rumors turned out to be true, just like with Game of Thrones season 8, like it was like somebody had leaked the script. So it was
Oh
the same
man.
thing with Rise of Skywalker.
Game of Thrones I never super got into. I know a lot of other people did, but I
Don't.
didn't I didn't get
Good.
it.
You didn't waste your life like the rest of us, because I
Oh,
did.
okay. Awesome. So, but yet I waste my
Mind
life in
you,
other
I
weird
will
stuff.
thank actually, like, see, this is the thing, right? The Last Jedi and Game of Thrones is one of the reasons that I am a YouTuber today. So thank you,
Mhm.
Rian Johnson and D&D, because if you hadn't made such shit shows, maybe I wouldn't be here today talking about all
Oh,
the things that I talk
D&D. Oh
about.
gosh.
Dan and Dave.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
No, no,
Oh.
no. Dan and Dave, the guys that fucked over Game of Thrones.
Oh,
We
okay.
call them D&D because they're,
Hmm.
Dan and Dave.
Well, they sound pretty gay.
Maybe I could see it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Aren't they
I don't know.
brothers? I have no idea. But anyways, I just so that's what happened. I saw people were doing that, and then I got really interested in it, and then uh Anna encouraged me to make a channel because I started to be in everybody's chat. And Anna, Stephanie, my nerdy home, she was in that too. And Mary Mayhem, some other girls, they were all having like a girls' night on Anna's channel, and they were like, "You should make a channel and come hang out with us." And I was like, you know what? I think I can do it. I think I can make a channel and at least go and hang out with these ladies and talk about whatever, right? And I did, and then just like I don't know, like 4, 5, 6. I don't know, not even that much. Like a couple months after, like I did it, COVID happened. So
Mm,
then it was like lockdown, and so I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna live stream and hang out all
yeah.
night, like and that at that time, I had met my friend John Talks, who was one of the first people who let me on his channel. And we ended up doing infinite talk for hours during COVID, and it just became a thing. And we're still friends. We still hang out. Unfortunately, he was just demonetized on YouTube. I
Yeah,
feel
I
so
saw
bad
that.
for him. I
I saw
know.
that. Yeah, I haven't checked out his stuff, but I did see that, and
Well, they kept it like
what he showed was bullshit.
the
I struggled with YouTube stuff too.
yeah.
Because they demonetized me because a lot of my channel got some traction when I when I made a best of pigeon from Mike Tyson Mysteries. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I made like a compilation video of Pigeon because it was Norm Macdonald who voiced
Okay.
Pigeon from the show Mike Tyson Mysteries, and that was just to like keep my editing because I do video editing. That was just to keep it sharp, and part of the fact of all those compilation videos you see on YouTube, they do all this stupid stuff so they can get monetized and not get caught by the algorithm.
Oh,
So like
wow.
so they like chop up like parts of it and ruin the joke and the setups and stuff. And I'm like, well, this is a Norm Macdonald part that a lot of people don't know about because I noticed that there
Oh.
wasn't a whole lot. So I just said, shit, I'll just go ahead and do it. And I did it. And and it like blew up like insane, like 500,000 like views
Wow.
and stuff like that. But down the road, the more I did it, finally YouTube demonetized me for being reused content
For
because
reused content.
yeah, because I would I would OCD like if part of the line was being cut off and it like switches to a different perspective and it was jarring to have it like go move over to the next little joke. Like
Mhm.
I would go in there and like edit the mouth flaps and stuff to continuate and do like all this nitpicky stuff because I was
Wow.
like, I want to show this because no one knows that this is Norm Macdonald and he's hilarious. But again, my channel wasn't really that, but that was kind of like how it kicked off. And then, but then,
You
I
were
wanted
doing that on this channel?
on this channel, yeah.
Okay.
It's not there anymore because I had to get rid of it. Because once I got rid
Sure.
of it, they remonetized me. And then when I tried to where like, okay, I want to make this more take this more seriously. So, kind of separate business and personal stuff.
Mhm.
Note to self, don't delink your AdSense and then
Oh, shit.
try to relink
Oh.
it because
Yeah.
you ungrandfather clause, whatever it is. I figured it out in the end, but they would not tell me the reason why. And you would have to wait 30 minutes or not 30 minutes, 30 days to
Mhm.
relink. It's so fucking stupid.
That's dumb. I
And
think something similar happened to Lila Hart recently, and she was like, "I'm just gonna
oh,
make a new
Lila.
channel," and I was like,
Oh,
"No,
that sucks.
Lila, like contact them or like just wait." But it was a whole thing. I don't know. Something happened with her AdSense, and I
If
was like,
anybody is listening and you need to link up your AdSense, number one, create a brand new Gmail account. Number two, link it through YouTube. Don't go to AdSense and then try to link it there. That's the problem. Link it through YouTube and then you'll get accepted, sort of thing. That's how I figured out. And they would not tell me anything. I was
"That's
really
crazy,
mad.
man. That's crazy."
But yeah, and then from that, it was like, well, my channel was never there because I used to kind of do angry video game like review type reviews sort of thing
Mhm.
because that was another way for me to also channel my frustration
Sure.
and stuff like that. But the angry video game review shtick can only do so much. But
Sure.
but I wanted to be that character that like freaks out, like bipolar freak out on stuff. But then the joke is that this guy who's hating on this game and hates everything about it, he still continues to play it. And that's kind of like the joke because you see all
Sure.
these people spurg out and how much they hate this game. It's stupid, it's dumb, I'm never playing it again. And then the next day they're playing it
They're
again.
still playing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of like
Yeah.
the joke. I would want to be that character sort of thing. And you
That's
could
funny.
kind of that was when I was powder keg Greg. And then I changed it to power because I wanted
How
to.
long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing it for quite a while, maybe like 5+ years or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So my journey's been I mean, everybody's journey is different, and that's kind of the
Mhm.
thing that you can learn from the people who know it, like the algorithms and the CEO and stuff like that. But everyone's journey is different. It's the same with voice
Totally.
acting. Everybody's journey is different. That's where I believe one, transparency is the key because people like authenticity and
Mhm.
realness. Not to like dive into like your deepest personal secrets, but people don't. To me, I don't like people act. I don't like fake people. I don't like an act. I connect with more people who are just you. And if I don't like
Mhm.
you, I move on because that's the way the
Sure.
world works, sort
Yeah.
of thing. So like,
You sound like a normal person. I mean,
yeah,
it's really difficult for people to do that. Like they'll be like, "Oh, I don't like you, so
because
I'm not gonna watch you anymore." But instead, most
oh,
people are like, "I don't like you, so I'm gonna just fucking shit on you."
yeah,
It's just like, dude, you just move on. It's
but
okay.
and the biggest thing I also learned is networking and
Mhm.
and doing it right. I grew up to where I if anyone can relate, if you can always recall, remember back in the day, the one kid who would invite himself over and you didn't really like him.
Sure.
If anyone's habit, that's how I view it too. Is number
Mhm.
one, I didn't invite you to come hang out, sort of thing. So like when I see people kind of like, hey, you should have me on your show. To me, it's like, why would you say that? Like, if anything, invite the other person to come on your show
Sure.
and do it. That's how I do it. Like just networking. Make yourself known in the chat, be genuine, be true, and stuff like that. And that one's more of my little pet peeve because that's just who I am because I've experienced stuff like that. because
But I'm the same way too. Like I was like, I'm just gonna be part of the chat and be part of the
yep.
conversation and be part of the community. And then if like people want to have me around, then
Hmm.
they'll invite me on. It's not like the only person that was different with was John, because that was I did message John and I was like, I want to be on your channel because I
That's
want to
all,
talk
but
to you. I
that's
was
all
such
right
a
because
dork.
but that's okay because some people handle that really well. Some people can
Yeah.
handle that sort of thing, but it's and it worked. So there's nothing wrong with that sort of thing. Like the biggest thing that I've seen some people do is like, hey man, I just gave you a follow, follow me back, and
Oh my God. The follow for follow people are
it's
like,
like
get out of here.
exactly. It's like, dude, like, I'm not just gonna blindly follow you. Number two, if you're not putting up anything worth interesting, I'm not gonna follow you. And number three,
Mhm,
if I don't like the stuff that you're putting up, I'm not gonna follow you. Like,
mhm.
uh-oh, Chaos Smash is asking a question. Don't worry about it.
I didn't even know what that was. I was
Don't
like,
worry
what does
about
that
it.
mean?
Don't worry about it. It is
I like peace signs. That's all I know.
it's occultic, secret occultic occultic signs being thrown in. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. No, that's actually
Forget
another.
about it. I love that. No,
No, that
that's good.
specific thing is a whole nother rabbit hole, which we are not here to do. I'm here to
Well, we
damn
can
it.
do a show about that once, like later in the future. We can talk about the occult stuff. I mean, I'm interested. Like, I've never not been interested about it. I think, like,
Well,
I'm
like I
interested in like conspiracy theories and
well, kind of
like
like
weird stuff.
mhm.
I like that stuff. The woo
Yeah,
woo. I don't know.
if you want to talk about it too, because I'm actually kind of talking, I'm doing a series called Spirit Power Unleashed.
I want to
Um,
watch that. That sounds cool.
yeah, yeah. Still working on it. I've almost got the script written, and I've said this a couple times. That's another thing that I struggle with too, is well, some other stuff too, because I do sometimes get into depression and it's really hard to push through sort of
I
thing.
feel you. Mhm.
But like, and finding that motivation too, but
I
when you
understand.
study,
It's the artistic struggle, man.
oh,
Motivation.
and when you study that sort of stuff too, you're kind of aware of and this is just me, people can take it as is, but as someone of faith and who reads the scripture and stuff, when you begin to understand the enemy's tactics and stuff,
Mhm.
you'll become aware on how much it is around there, sort of thing too. Because
Mhm.
you were actually talking about it with Carrie Smith and some other people about like you mentioned that you kind of saw a supernatural being like in a dream or something like that,
Something
or
like that.
something like that too, because I've had the same thing. I've seen demons
Mm,
in dreams. Demons can't manifest based on scripture. They can only inhabit. They can't manifest in this world.
mhm.
Fallen angels can. So that's one of those things too. But yeah, if you ever want to talk about that sort of stuff, I'm always down to, for sure.
Sure,
So
yeah, I
yep.
mean, another time, like,
Yeah,
especially,
no,
like,
absolutely.
near Halloween, like, I'm all about that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, it's got a time and a place, and honestly, like, that's the other thing about this stuff is, like,
Hmm.
because I actually think it's kind of close to the truth, like, a lot of it is, very weird, but I
Hmm.
do like, I do think there's a root in all of that kind of stuff, like, I think there is some
Hmm.
substance to it, so in some ways, it can become really freaky and draining as well, because you're like, you're kind of taking your mind to this other place where you're like, oh my God, this is kind of intense. So you have to be at like, in the right place of thought and mind when
Hmm.
you're talking about that. So like
Yeah, I have.
definitely not tonight, but yes.
Oh no, no, I didn't mean tonight.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
I
saying
know,
it.
I know. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
just saying in
definitely
general. Yeah,
it'd be cool. It's
I
cool.
haven't shared it yet, but my first topic is going to be about Mammon, and
Oh,
if
okay.
you've heard of Mammon, Jesus
I
talks
have.
about that. That is, you cannot
I
serve.
heard about him. You know who you should talk to. I don't know if you've heard of this guy or not. Xerxes. Have you talked to Xerxes? Because he is so all about the occult and like the
I
crazy
haven't.
woo-woo stuff. He's great. You should okay, here, let me have you heard about like what's it called? Tartaria and like all that kind of stuff?
Tartarus,
No, Tartaria. Xerxes.
Tartaria. Not familiar. Tartarus is a specific layer in Hades.
No, yeah, he talks about that kind of stuff too, but not
Okay. Yeah, shoot me
Andreas.
a private text. But like one of the first episode I'm talking about is Mammon. Jesus mentions him, and then
Mhm.
you can kind of, well, he mentions the concept. He says you can't serve God and mammon, which means riches or wealth. But
Mm.
there's actually in Greek, but there's a third definition where it says it's riches personified, and that's very interesting because there are fallen angels who do personify certain things.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So I just put his channel in the
yeah,
private
sure.
chat for you. And it's funny because he's live right now. He's probably talking about some weird shit. But this guy talks about like really weird shit all the time. So you'll probably like him. Like he talks about the occult, the woo woo,
Mhm.
all that stuff.
Yeah, and
He's
like I
really into it.
haven't like this has only just been fresh too, but it was more of like the definitely fighting against it because I really do not like the painting of the broad stroke of and part of it is also tying into, and I did a terrible job segueing my thoughts and stuff. The point of it being, if we want to tie into something that recently is happening, is like that of Matt Welsh or the the conservative side of stuff losing the culture war by doing stupid crap like this, by painting
Mm,
everything as demonic and stuff like that. Because again, not trying to boast, but not trying to brag or anything like that. But a lot of people who spew stuff like that don't understand what they're talking about,
mhm,
nor do they even
mhm,
have a scriptural support or understanding of it,
mhm,
or they're taking stuff that isn't fully being seen in the full context and stuff. And that's the hard part,
mhm. Well,
obviously,
I
too.
think in case of Matt Walsh, like the funny part is I kind of understand where he comes from sometimes, because you got to understand, like
Mhm.
even in the anime world, which I'm a huge part of. Like I've been a part of the anime crowd. I've been a part of like the Star Trek crowd, Star Wars, like all that stuff. Look, like we all can admit in every one of these communities, like geekdom communities, and again, I don't mean any offense to anybody about this, but there are weirdos in these communities.
Oh,
There's people who
absolutely.
take things way too over the top, and there's people who actually have gone out and learned Klingon and like, talk in Klingon, and like they're very extreme about, their love of Star Trek, which is great. Like, more power to them. But they can come across as extreme to other people who don't necessarily understand that kind of entertainment venue, right?
And yeah,
So
I
I think Matt Walsh kind of falls in that category of extremely normie
can you
guy.
hear me? Because I can't
Yes.
hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. You don't hear me anymore? Oh no. What happened? I have no idea. Can you hear me on YouTube or am I muted? Can you hear me? On YouTube?
Weird. Okay.
Oh no, I'm not muted on YouTube, so that's you. Hold on, let me write this.
Okay. Yeah, I still can't hear you. Let me just make sure. I'm gonna play a clip real quick just to make sure that it's not my. Oh, you're not muted on YouTube, so that's me. Oh, that's weird.
I don't know what's going on.
Well,
Sound
poop.
check.
Let me
Maybe get out and come back. Hold on, let me write that.
yeah. See. Testing.
Can you hear me?
Cannot hear you.
You huh.
Hmm. Well, this is an appropriate clip.
It's
Let's
okay.
see. Uh I did not hear that clip, so that is
That's
the end. Okay.
hear me now?
WTF, mate?
Oh, sad.
See, this is what happens when you begin talking about spiritual warfare and stuff like that. They hate it, and
Isn't
then
it
they
funny?
you
I
stop.
mean, wait, you
What
can't hear
the
me.
F, David Blaine? What the F? Leave. Okay, I did leave. Let me just try leaving again.
I'm trying to type to him. No, you come back too quick. Go get out. Get out all the way. All the way.
Uh, let's see. I could try leaving X out. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll be right back, folks. Hold on to your butts.
I'm taking over the show. What's going on, everyone? This is Power Keg. Power Keg Greg. That's right, Power Keg Greg's channel. Welcome. I am Nina Infinity, your temporary host, while Power Keg is gone. Power Up Podcast. This is the best. Can you
Okay,
hear
I
me
can hear
now?
you now.
Yay! You
Dude,
X'd out.
StreamYards. This is the
Unreal.
what's up?
Unreal.
Unreal. This is the thanks I get for switching over to your guys' service. What up, Pug Wedgie Fitness? Says what's up,
Hello.
Neen?
Hi.
But yeah,
Well, you can clip me because I did like a crazy intro. I think I totally butchered your name, but then you can clip me when you were
you
gone.
can call me Greg. It is fine.
I was like,
Keg
Power Keg Greg. What's going on?
Power Up Podcast. Woo!
Yeah, you should totally watch it when you like leave. You can probably like clip it, make it
Well,
something funny
I
out of it.
left. It had to have been StreamYards because when I left, I immediately started hearing you on YouTube. So it had to
Whenever that happens,
just
X out. Just
X out.
X out
Okay.
and come back. Like that's you. I mean, if it ever happens to me on StreamYard, I do that. What were we talking about before this happened? The woo woo, something about woo woo. I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
So I was saying that I think Matt Walsh falls under the category of like extreme normie boomer. So for him, a lot of the stuff that he like sees is first of all very extreme, like in terms of like he's like anime can be very overwhelming, like especially if you're like not a fan of the genre in general. So like I can understand why like you would see like all these sexualized women in animated format, and then all of a sudden like demons and like all these different things, and then I could put myself in his shoes where I'm like, okay, this and he sees like weeb culture and like all these like weirdo weeb people with their fucking pillows, like body pillow lovers, and like dudes wants to marry a body pillow and like all these different things. So I can understand when you see like that aspect of it. It may not necessarily be, something that you would want to get into or want your kids to get into and stuff like that. But obviously, because I have such a passion about anime, that I can see the good in it. Whereas in like, I don't think Matt has the capability of seeing the good in it because he doesn't want to give it a chance. He's like that person. He's that person, right? So then like you have like it. I think he's the same way with video games. He comes from the older generation where it's like our parents, like that were like not going to make money doing video games. But now he's come to a point where people are making money doing video games. And it's come to that world where he didn't want that world to become a thing. You know what I mean? And so now
Yeah.
he's kind of just like, oh, I don't like this culture or like whatever. Like, I don't like this video game culture, especially like of specifically men playing video games, because he finds it emasculating, and he doesn't find it like something that a grown man should give his time to. It's very conservative thinking, so I can understand it from his point of view. I don't think it's right, and I think he's silly, because I think you should open your mind up to other things, especially when it's a huge cultural movement, especially if you're trying to reach young voices and younger minds. You have to kind of broaden your perspective and kind of like try and at least see it from their point of view. I try to see it from the leftist point of the views all the time. I just think they're nuts. But you have to try, and I think that that's where Matt falls into a little bit of fault there.
I can see what you're coming from. I'd have to disagree with of where he's coming from, because I looked up his age. He's only 38. I'm 36. So to me,
My age.
what's up?
He's my age.
He's your age.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like I don't feel that he's enough of a boomer to kind of have that element sort of thing. The thing I do take issue with is he is pushing the conservative issue of video games are too violent, which has been disproven over and over and
Yeah,
over
that's
again.
true.
I do disagree like with him on that 100%. In
That's
fact,
true.
there's been studies where people or a lot of people in the military, the reason why they play video games has been shown that they actually have very good hand coordination when it comes to
Hand-eye coordination.
controlling the drones and stuff like that, or doing
Mhm.
surgery, those precise movements sort of thing.
Mhm.
Um, there's definitely that. But again, and it's also the fact of also labeling it demonic. It just because the just because certain elements of polytheism and stuff like that are like the portraying of the story and the origin or what have you is demonic themed doesn't mean that it's actually
Demonic,
demonic
yeah, yeah.
sort of thing. It's the
Well, and
same.
that's why I'm saying it's very silly, like, it's a very
Yeah,
silly
it's a
outlook,
very
like, it's just like, I agree,
mhm,
especially with regards to, like, what he says about anime. I think it's really dumb when he says, like, anime is demonic or, like, video games are
mhm.
violent. I don't think like, I mean, obviously, that's actually been disproven, like you said, but it's also, like, it's almost as if he's kind of like, "I just don't wanna have anything to do with these people that are, like, so extreme, so I wanna, like, distant myself as much as possible from
I
them."
I
I
can
kind of get that
Mhm.
from
I
him.
can understand that as well, but I think even Jeremy pointed it out. He's taking this approach that he is the one that brought this to the attention again, which is 100% not true.
No, that's not true. I
That's
mean,
not true at all. That's something I
no.
definitely disagree with. And then people got on him because it said because they said, dude, like we've been talking about this forever. You do not speak for us. You bash about it, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
Which
I mean, it's so funny because Matt is one of those people that's like exactly, like he's been so outspoken about it
mhm,
that like it's pretty easy for people to be like, "Well, like you care now?" Like and now you're just like
exactly.
this beacon of like, I'm here as this the video game savior or whatever. Like, no, bro, like you haven't done anything about that's why it is funny. I still think there should be a conversation about it, which I'm glad that like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers ended up talking to him and everything
Mhm.
like in private.
No,
And I
that's
think that's
good.
good, but
That
I
is
think there
good.
should always be a conversation like this conversation that we're having right now, right? Like, I think that if somebody like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers or the Quartering or whatever Jeremy decides to talk to Matt, it's something that like I think not you're not necessarily going to change Matt's mind, right? Because
Mhm,
Matt's made up his mind. He's there at that point where he's like, I don't care. Like I made up my mind. There's no changing it.
mhm,
But there's always new people in his audience that are like, maybe struggling with the idea of like whether video games are violent. Maybe they do cause violence or whatever. Like, or like maybe whatever it is that they're feeling about video games. Like, is there woke in video games? Like that kind of conversation, I think, is something that can wake a lot of people up. It would be good for all audiences to have a conversation. The demonic stuff I think is funny because I think that just comes from like a fear, maybe. I can understand why he would think anime would be demonic though, just because there is so many,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
very
I mean, me
raunchy things in
my
anime.
favorite anime of all time is Neon Genesis Evangelion. That straight up has Christian elements, but yet it's only in there, and Hideki Anno even stated it that it was just cool, and Japan
Mhm.
actually doesn't know a lot about Christianity
Well,
and
and the
stuff like
but the
that.
other aspect to it too is that a lot of people who mistakenly think that hentai is also anime because a lot of people like,
Mm,
associate hentai with anime and they think that that's what anime is and it's
mhm.
not. That is not what
Well
anime is. That's basically anime porn. And if you're anti-porn, you're going to understand like you're going to have this
mhm,
very especially religious people are going to have an anti-porn stance. They're
mhm,
going to have like they're going to think it's demonic and it's understandable. Again, once you if you don't know the anime culture and stuff like that, you're going to
mhm.
just mix everything together. You're going to be like, it's just a big jumble of demonic shit. I don't have
Yeah.
anything to do with it.
And yeah, and I
So
guess and definitely for me too. I can definitely understand that sort of perspective, but it's weird because it's like you guys did this before back in the 90s
yeah,
and it didn't
yeah,
go so hot then and it's
no,
definitely and nowadays it's definitely not going to go well, but you're falling for the lies definitely
they've done
of
it since the '80s, dude. I mean, like
yeah,
it's for music and stuff like that, and D
absolutely.
and D. Like, I mean, come on,
Yeah.
it's been a long time. I remember when like Harry Potter first came out, and Harry Potter was like demon book. Like, yeah,
My
it
mom
is.
and I connected with that and we're of the faith. we connected to that. We never saw anything wrong with it. We didn't think of it like you're learning
Well, a lot
actual
of people would
witchcraft.
think you're blasphemous, dude. Because like
Well, well,
whoops.
fucking.
No, but yeah,
Speaking
but that was a conversation though, like whether that's like Harry Potter is demonic or not, or because you're focusing on witches and wizards and all that kind of stuff.
speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, I have beaten Baldur's Gate 3.
Yay!
And now I played the original 1 and 2.
Mhm.
3 is a solid game. It did not have the charm of 1 and 2 that I like. Um, but there was definitely a lot of debauchery in there for sure that
Sure.
I personally could just ignore and stuff like that. But it just made me think of watching you guys because I watched you and Tomby
Oh my god, we had a
play.
lot of fun with
That
that
was
game.
it is definitely a super fun game, that is for sure. Did you ever I sent it to you in the DM. Did you ever watch the Boulder Frank Reynolds from It's Always Sunny is in Baldur's Gate? Did you ever watch
I
that
don't
video?
know if I watched that. I may have, and I've forgotten
Oh,
it.
it's hilarious. It just made me think of like you watching you guys play and then me playing too. It is hilarious. The guy like green screen Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny and put it in parts of the scenes from Baldur's Gate. It is
Oh, no, I
hilarious.
haven't seen that. I gotta watch that. Well, you'll have to send it to me
Yeah,
again.
I'll send it to you again for sure.
I
Uh,
love Frank Reynolds, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's one of my favorite shows.
oh,
I love that show.
I haven't kept up with it, but I remember I laughed so hard when they spoof on Million Dollar Baby where
Oh
he
my
punches the
god.
one guy and then just
Yeah,
and I
it's
love
so good.
I love the one where they're trapped in the house and he has the whip.
Oh my
He's like, "I'm
god,
gonna
dude.
whip this little bitch in the face if she makes the people just going insane." I love it. It is so fun. You'll definitely enjoy this for sure.
There's a new one, like in one of the new seasons, not this immediate one. I think it's the last one. Where they did the thing with Indiana Jones and how like Indiana Jones was gonna get cucked by a female
No.
like replacement, and they do like because they basically get invited to like do a screening. So like the gang goes to like a screening of a movie, and they're kind of like the think tank or whatever. And then it was and it's just and like in the previous movies of their version of whatever, like the dude always would like show his dong. And so the episode is actually called like Bring Back the Dong, because they were like, where's the dong in this? Like, how come he doesn't show his dong at all? Like, where is the dong? And like the entire thing is like, where's the dong? And it's so good. Like, it's such a funny episode. You gotta at least watch that one. It's
I
so good.
sent you the video. I don't know, we could actually watch it on
Can
live.
we? Let's watch it.
You want to watch it?
Yeah, it's only 32 seconds. Let's watch it.
Oh, dude, you're gonna love it. Let's see.
I mean, unless you're not gonna get claimed on this, are you? I don't think you're gonna
We're
get claimed.
talking. I don't care. I'm on Rumble too. We're on. Oh yeah. By the
Oh,
way,
Rumble, yay!
yeah, we're on YouTube and Rumble, folks. So if you're enjoying the show,
Yay.
make sure to smash that subscribe button, punch up that thumbs up, and turn on notifications to get notified when I go live, whether it's the Power Up Podcast show with the guest, a solo show, my game streaming, and then soon my new series that I'm working on. Every little bit helps. And then, of
Ooh.
course, if you want to go beyond just helping the algorithm, you can always check out the membership tiers and subscription tiers that are available on YouTube and Rumble.
I just followed you on Rumble. I didn't even know you had a channel, so now I'm following you.
Yes, I was super blessed. I got selected for the Rumble Small Content Creator Program round 2.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
I got that Dorito check mark.
How do you do that? I want to do that.
You had to follow not this isn't the requirements, but they were advertising it on their X and stuff like that. And then they had a form that you just filled out. You filled it out saying what the purpose of your channel is, and that show up your link tree, or I use Linktree, but show your other social media so I know like, hey, do you have followers here and there and stuff. And
What do you get with it? Just a check mark?
they gave me a check mark. They gave me there was some prize money that was
Oh,
included.
cool. That's nice.
Very, very blessed and humbled. They did that. You had support, creator support. You
Aw.
had to like stream exclusively on Rumble for X amount of days, which obviously makes sense. They're trying out the new, and I think it's fine to share this. I think they've already shared it. They're sharing like IPI sort of things to where like whenever you have like followers and stuff like that, like little widgets and stuff that show you the followers, you can kind of do that.
Cool.
They just introduced a rating over on Rumble.
Oh, nice.
So yes, you type in /raid and then post in. I think it's anybody who's verified. Get the link of the show who you would want to raid, and it would be like Twitch. A little thing will pop up and say you're joining them and stuff. So
Oh,
new
that's
feature there.
cool.
That
I'm
was just
glad.
implemented. So
I'm
really
doing
cool.
like Rumble exclusive now for my Wednesday show because I was like, I'm sick of like censoring myself on YouTube. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just gonna
bullshit.
do
That's why
exclusive content there.
That's why honestly I'm just like, it's pretty fucking gay. Let's see, share screen.
I'm gonna try and apply for the next one, like the content creator thing.
Let's see. I think this is it. Yeah.
But I see Frank. This
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
be
it
it.
We mind
Do you
flayer
hear it?
parasites.
Yeah.
What? Within days, we will be geich. Mind flayers.
Oh, shit.
Wait, can you go full screen? Can you go full screen?
So
What?
what are we to do now?
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know how many years
that
on
better?
this earth I got left. I'm gonna get real weird with it. What a sweet little birdie. You want some food? Want some?
Oh my god.
You seagull!
The goddess Mistra.
Oh, I love this part.
She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. And later even my lover.
You bang my dead wife?
Oh yes.
Oh my god.
Look out!
Death is not the end, merely
Gas
another
round?
beginning.
I love it.
That's good. Can you conjure the dead? Can you get my dead whore wife back here so I can lay into her from the other side?
Oh my god, there! Oh my god, there! Oh my god!
Hello!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Ongo Goblogi and the art collector. Don't judge me, this is art! Allow me to destroy your gallery. Bullshit. Bullshit. Derivative.
Oh my god!
What? I absolutely love it. Looks like he may commit suicide. Suicide is badass.
Oh my goodness.
You unleashed something that would consume all magic in
That was
existence.
great.
I did what I did. You don't like it, you can kiss my ass.
Oh my god, that was great.
That was
You
I
know
knew
that
you would
scene? You know that scene where he's coming out like
Out of
he's
the
naked?
couch?
He's coming out
Oh,
of the
dude.
couch. Dude, that is one of my favorite scenes of all time, like of comedy. Like that I was dying when I first saw that. I was like on the floor, like almost pissing my pants because it was just like
Oh.
this like I couldn't breathe how much I was laughing at that scene.
Dude, that scene is so funny.
Epic.
Props to the guy who made that too, by the way, because that
Yes, that was
green
great.
screen king was amazing.
That was really good.
clean. Geeking out editing right now here. That was
No, I
smooth.
totally get it. That's great. Does he have other stuff that he does?
Yeah, he does. He has a
Ooh, he's
bunch.
got a Michael Scott and massive.
Yeah, he has a bunch. So check it out.
I'm gonna subscribe to this guy. That's funny. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
check this guy out. That's not. That's
I guess
cool.
I should be nice. We'll hold on real quick. Eli underscore handle underscore B dot
Yeah,
wave
what a
file.
channel name, eh? Like, what is this?
I have no idea, but
I can't believe this dude has like a 568,000 subs, and his name is like the weirdest name I've ever heard in my life. I'm like, how do you
That is-
brand that?
that's where we saw that. So check it out, guys. An unintentional plug, I guess, but hilarious nonetheless.
Hey, he's got a great channel. I mean, looks
No,
like
it
he's
was great.
very
It was
funny.
great. Speaking of great channels, so you started doing your channel, and you started doing, streaming more. It sounds like you were able to, you had a lot of support and like people like from Anna and other people coming in, encouraging
Mhm.
you, just talking with them and stuff. And then you started doing breaking the narrative and
Mhm.
good news. Can you kind of explain like kind of your thoughts on how you wanted to create those specific series and then implemented them?
Yeah, sure. Well, like I said, I was doing my big stream with John that we were doing called Infinite Talk. And then he kind of was like in a transition period where he was coming out from like the commentary section of YouTube doing short format, video format that he's doing now. And at the time he would just kind of like taking a big step back from live streaming, and he wanted to like do like focus on uploading videos more, which I totally understood. I was
Mhm.
like, you got to do you. But so like he wasn't able to do Infinite Talk as much. And so we just did it like once a month. And but I still wanted to do because I like the live streaming format. I prefer that over smaller length videos and
Mhm.
scripted videos. I like live streaming. I think it's a lot more fun for me. Um, so I was like, well, I want to continue this show, but I can't. Clearly, I'm not going to be able to do it with John anymore. And that was we were kind of doing breaking the narrative in the same kind of way, like on that show, like basically talking about objective reality in the news and the current events and whatever else was going on, like, and just talking about that aspect of things. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do the show breaking the narrative, and it's the same thing, and have guests, and let's break some narratives about what's going on about specifically at the time, COVID and like whatever else was going on. I had to be really careful about what I was saying, but I tried
Mhm.
my best. And just geared it towards the guests and whatever was the topic, the hot topic of the week. And then as I was doing that, and I was doing Infinite Talk as well. Like as I was doing Infinite Talk, I should say, because at that time I had actually already started doing Infinite Hope. But before, because of all the negative stuff that I was hearing all the time about COVID and stuff like that, I also struggle with depression, Greg. So
Mhm.
I was like, I think I'm becoming extremely depressed. And one of the
Mhm.
ways that I was saving myself was through YouTube, because it was good to be able to talk to people, because I need to get out and talk to people. I'm a social person. So it was very unnatural for me not to talk to people, not to have that connection. So I was like, I need to create something good, because we need to balance out what's going on, because everything is so freaking depressing. Like there's no way that this is just it. So then I decided to do Infinite Hope, because I am a very hopeful person, because I'm an optimist deep down inside. I want the best for everybody, and I want things to work out. And I do have hope that it will. So I was like, I want to feed that wolf. I always talk about which wolf you want to feed. And I do want to feed the wolf, the positive wolf within myself. I don't like the I don't like the pessimistic side of me, and I want to be able to express the optimism more. So I decided to make the show in order to bring positivity in the world and balance out the craziness that is our world right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's amazing on something so powerful such as depression,
Depression.
depression,
Hmm.
um, can get a hold of you, but yet you can use that hold and that grip. And if you don't succumb to it and you don't let it get to you, to use that as a motivation to go out and speak and to use that energy, use
You've
that.
said channeling several times. It's basically the same thing. Like you got to channel that
Mhm.
depression into a more positive. It's kind of like judo, right? Like you want to like get back that the energy, that the
Mhm.
negative energy that comes. You want to
Mhm.
push it out and make it positive instead. So I try to do that. And of course I owe you a big thanks as well to Midnight's Edge. I couldn't even be here
Yeah.
today if it wasn't for Midnight's Edge as well. Because I was working with them a lot for a long time. They invited me on the show called Toxic Femininity, and I did I was there. I was invited as a guest, and then I became a recurring guest. And then as time went on and other things happened and other people, left the show, Andre decided to offer me the producer job for the show. And now I that's what I do. I produce
Oh,
Toxic
that's
Femininity on
awesome.
Midnight's Edge as well.
Congrats.
So yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. And I love Midnight's Edge. I love Andre. I love Tom. They're really good people. Just some of the best to work with.
Yeah,
Really
go check
appreciate
it
them.
out for sure. Yeah, I try to hop in there when I can. So
That's good. Yeah, I mean, Midnight Ed's just a great channel. Just generally speaking, I really like what they do and their analysis, especially Andre's Norwegian accent when he talks like this is very interesting. That was like almost like Kirk. Like I did like a Kirk Andre.
Fuck.
Midnight's Edge. That was pretty
Captain's
good.
log. Midnight's
Yeah.
Edge. Starting at 8 p.m. Central Time. What can we do?
Yeah, so it's a good place. Tom and Andre are great people.
That's awesome. That's very awesome, dude. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear that you are enjoying it and working on it, and hope it
Mhm.
grows as well. So I see that old Cowboy Bebop wall scroll there.
Yeah, and I
So
got the Ghost in the Shell on the side. And
nice.
this one is what's it called? Record of Lotus War.
That one I'm not familiar with.
You gotta watch it. It's so
Good.
good.
With that being said, if you can currently, because I know it always changes and stuff like that, is there an anime that not so, I guess not so much your number one favorite anime, unless you've decided
Other
on
than InuYasha?
other than InuYasha, yeah. Is there other anime? Is there like another high tier anime for you that
I have so many. Like that I have a difficult time picking which ones. But yeah, of course, the three of these kind of talk about which version because they're all different aspects too. Like you got the extreme cyberpunk sci-fi with Ghost in the Shell, and you got regular like space cowboy sci-fi with Cowboy Bebop, and you got fantasy like just pure dragons and elves and just really cool adventures. This is basically the Lord of the Rings in the animated version.
Oh, very
It's not the
interesting.
Lord of the Rings. It's a very different story. That's why it's called the Record of Lotus War. But it's basically the animated Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you've heard of it. Razor Fist also refers to it as that. He's the only other person who said that other than me.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'll have
Um,
to check that out too. When did that
it's
come out?
beautiful. Oh my god, it's been a long time. The original one was
I was gonna say, because that art, like from what I can see just from here, it looks like that artwork is definitely like of the past per se.
yeah, this is let's see. The original one I think came out in Record of Lotus War. Probably in 86 or something, I want to
Oh yeah.
say. Original run 1988 to 1993. There's two original runs because there's two different ones. So 1988 is the first one, and then 1993 is the second one. There's two different versions. So you have like the original one is just 13 episodes. It's great. It's very short and sweet. Second one is like the 26th episode version because you know how like the 90s anime were like 24 to 26 episodes.
I
So
still
that it's the same story, but you get like a lot more detail into what in that 13 episode arc. You get a lot more
I
detail.
still say like animes that are like 25, 26 episode, I think that's like the perfect
I
anime
agree. I agree. I think
length.
they should go back to that format. But
I always say that a very good example of that anime. Full Metal Alchemist is good. Is Brotherhood is a good one.
mhm.
But I think that one goes to like 40.
Yeah, but I mean, you can have a really good anime be longer. Like one of my
Yeah.
favorite other than Inuyasha because I made an exception for that one specifically because I don't like shonen anime. Generally speaking, I'm not a shonen person. Bleach, I tried, and then I was like, I'm out.
I
Uh,
read the manga of Bleach. I didn't follow the anime.
I read the manga too because I wanted a freaking ending, and then I was like, my god, this is absolute garbage. So I'm glad I didn't waste my life completely on Bleach, but I did for a while. But after that, I was like, I'm down. I'm just done with shonen. It was just not my thing anymore. And
Isn't
I was getting older too, so I was like,
But isn't
I'm not.
technically InuYasha not shonen? Isn't that more
No,
romantic comedy?
no, InuYasha is shonen. It was
Is
actually
it?
shown on like it was actually advertised as shonen anime, and it was on the shonen manga as well. Like
Hmm.
it was a shonen thing.
I guess I'm thinking
Um,
more of genre because I always saw it as being put underneath a like romantic comedy or something like that.
well, yeah, I mean, it has romantic comedy aspects to it, but it was a shonen run
Yeah, I
anime.
guess that's true.
Um, and it was long. That's one of the reasons it was shown because it was so long.
True.
And then but it had an ending, so it was fine. It's fine. But there was a one of them that I right now would always top of my brain first anime that I would think of that's long format and I love it to death is Monster. I think Monster is one of the best animes of all time. It doesn't get enough recognition. Um,
I've
I
heard of
just
it, but I'm
it's
not
very
familiar.
good. It's very good. It's
Monster.
very good anime. It's psychological in terms of like um it's just psychological. It's a psychological anime. It's not futuristic. It's not based in the future. A lot of history in it actually. It's really
Hmm.
good. Very, very, very good. And I think I'm pretty sure it's the same creators that did this, but recently they actually did one that has very similar animation style. I think it's the same studio because they just look so similar. But they just had put there's a recent one on Netflix called Pluto that I really, really, really enjoyed. Um and I really like that anime, and it's only like 8 episodes. It's a mini series. It's only like 8 episodes, and it finishes. It has an ending, and I was like, "This is really
Man, I
great."
gave up on Netflix. I canceled that sucker.
Well, I'm sure there's other ways that you can get it. Sail the high seas,
Yep.
but you can
Hmm.
just get Pluto. It's good. It's only like 8 episodes. Each one is an hour long though, which is interesting format again because
Hmm.
usually animes half an hour.
I was actually going to say that when it comes to the episode, like the 25-26 episode, one that I always point to as a really good one because it sets itself up in the first couple episodes. You get all the hijinks and the side stories and whatnot, and then you get the resolution at the end. Is Samurai Champloo?
I was gonna just bring that out too. I love that anime.
I
It's freaking
love
great anime.
that anime.
So
I
good.
I definitely like felt that post anime depression when it's over
Yeah, same
sort of thing.
here.
Like I got that with I got that with InuYasha when I beat Secret of the Cursed Mask because I like 100%ed
Oh,
everything, and I was like, "No, Sango, like you're gone," but not
oh,
really. I love Sango. Sango's my
that's your favorite character.
that's my favorite character from InuYasha is
That's so sweet.
Sango. I love Sango. Oh, dude, her story is so sad, and it's
I
like it's
know. I love
disgusting too
Sango.
because in the end it was just like, oh yeah, I need someone to try to kill Inuyasha. Oh, I'll just pick this. Like it could have been anybody. Oh, just it sucks. I hate it. But
Mhm.
luckily, they all got
They got their
their
revenge.
their revenge on it, sort of thing. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but back to the anime list. Like I would definitely say
Hmm.
Monster is my some of my top favorite ones. Obviously Sailor Moon because I mean it goes without saying it like really shaped who I am as a human being. So Sailor
I mean,
Moon's definitely like even before Inuyasha, I mean like Sailor Moon's my number one girl.
I had to say it, but Dragon Ball Z for me. That's
Again, that's a
again,
boy version. It's the
that's the
boy
boy
version.
version. Yep.
I get it. I totally get it.
I rank that as nostalgia though.
Yeah.
I personally say Dragon Ball Z number 1 nostalgia for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah. Other ones like I love Cardcaptor Sakura. I really love.
I never got into that one.
But see, that's a magical girl anime, so it's really difficult for a lot of men to get into. The
Mm,
interesting part though is Cardcaptor Sakura has a really, really, really deep story. So if you
that's
if you
cool.
actually get into it, like if you can get past the magical girl aspect of it, there's definitely something that you can find in that as well because it has a very good male character. So the
Mhm.
male character that it has, he goes through a lot of stuff and there's a lot of struggle and there's a lot of interesting, aspects of it. So
Yu Yu
um
Hakusho, yeah, as Chaos
I
brought up.
wanna watch that, that's something
I
I've never
would
watched.
highly, highly, highly recommend it. Yu Yu Hakusho,
I've heard that from a lot of people, and I
mhm,
should
I
watch
would
it. You know what? I'm gonna write that down.
yeah, I would if my words mean anything, I would definitely say Yu Yu Hakusho. I would highly recommend that. Man, I'm so bad. Like, I used to have an anime list and then I just forgot like to keep
I
it up.
have
Like,
several.
it's so insane.
Because
Like
there's
I
so
watched
many too. You're
I
like, oh
know.
my god.
It's so crazy. Like, and
Oh, I'm sorry, Chaos Mate, because he says Bleach is my favorite. I'm sorry I shat on Bleach so many times, but
oh, don't
I
worry
hate
about it.
Bleach.
He
I
calls me bald all the
But
time,
to
so
be fair,
he
to be
deserves some.
fair, here's the thing. Look, you can tell I was a Bleach head for a while because of this. Like, see,
There you go.
there she is. This is
I
one of my
got
only
my
figures I still have from Canada.
I've got
I
my
brought
figurines.
Dusty. Oh, cool. Yours is mostly in the box. I have a Sailor Moon one that I haven't let
I
out of
took
the
them
box.
out. I took them out because a lot of people probably don't like it, but I really like. Well, I don't say I really like. I thought it was unique at the time, but I did get a little bit of Funko Pops.
Okay, yeah, I never got into the Funko stuff.
I like. Well, that's all right, and I like certain ones because certain faces I just love. Like little, there's just like I have a Charmander one, and he has this like
Oh, I love
little
Charmander.
derp face.
Oh, I love Charmander. Oh my god. Did you ever see did you ever watch the first episode where Charmander is introduced?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I cried so fucking hard at that episode. It was
Dude,
so sad.
check out this little derp face.
Oh, that's actually cute for a
He's like,
Funko.
he's just like, yeah, I'm Charmander. Like, I just picture him saying, yeah, I'm Charmander with that big old grin on his face.
Char. He's so
Char.
cute.
And then I've got Mew.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
do
cute.
love a Mew, and I have Garfield and Odie, and
Oh,
other
that's
stuff, and
funny.
some Dragon Ball Z stuff. So
Oh my god.
that one was, yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to kind of get into like the cool action figure sort of stuff. Like I have some Dragon Ball Z stuff, which is
Mhm.
more detailed and stuff like that. But man, I know that can get pretty expensive.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's an expensive habit. I mean, I got this one, and like I said, I didn't even put it out of the box yet because I was like, I need to get out of this closet, and then once I do, and like have like an actual place I can put it, then I'm gonna bring her
nice.
out. But I mean, I had to get her. She's great.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I think the biggest action figure. I have a giant Funko Ava Unit 1.
Oh, I have a giant Fae too. I have a
Ooh,
giant Fae, but
nice.
I'm not even gonna bring that one over because that one's like it's as tall as my chair.
I would love to get some of those really super detailed, like Dragon Ball Z ones or whoever sort of thing. I really love those.
Yeah, those are good.
Do you have a specific, like, I guess, what would you call it? People who make figurines or something like the brand or something like that? Or is it just whatever, like, looks cool and appealing?
Honestly,
sort of
whatever
thing?
looks cool, it's fine with me. Obviously, I'd like more detailed stuff, like who doesn't?
Yeah.
But it's there again, like you said, it's an expensive habit. So at this
Mhm.
point, I'm kind of like fine with like I know it sounds really bad, but like I'm fine with the Chinese made stuff that like looks like the figure, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, like that's it. Here, let me share my screen. This is the Faye Valentine figure that I have, but it's like it's a big one.
Dang.
That's nice.
Yeah,
It was a
that looks
gift.
amazing. Wow.
And it was a gift. I actually
Oh.
couldn't afford that at the time.
Well, we're coming up on 2 hours here. Nina, it's been awesome chatting with you. I have some other stuff that maybe if we would want to comment on and whatnot,
Sure.
just like articles and stuff like that. Which I thought, I mean, so many stuff happening. It's like kind of funny sort of thing. The question is, which one would we want to comment on or talk about? Do you hear about Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion? Like, the file size are being reviewed, like, or got revealed, sort of thing.
No, I didn't hear about that at all.
So like it just caught my interest. Because number one, like I'm actually pretty. Did you ever play Luigi's Mansion?
I love Luigi's Mansion. I'm a
I
huge fan.
I love it too. It reminds me of Ghostbusters, and I love
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters. Not a
I love
super.
both. I love Paper Mario as well. I love both
Oh,
games.
Paper Mario was good. I wish they would have kept with it, but then I just jumped over to Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which I think
Mm.
that's a.
I don't think I ever played that one.
If did you like Thousand Year Door? Um, did you like the RPG element and stuff to
Yeah,
it?
I do like
You really
RPG.
like that? Once you're done with the Thousand Year Door, just jump over to the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga because it
Okay.
continues that. It
Okay.
continues that RPG element while the paper ones kind of went a different direction,
You know
which I
what's funny is right now, speaking of RPG, I just literally last night started playing Super Mario RPG on the
it's a
Switch.
good one. It's a good one.
I love that game. I was like, I
I
can't believe they like remade it or like remastered
I
it. So I'm
played
all
the
about that game.
OG not too long ago. Like again, like because I didn't grow up with a Super Nintendo, and even like some of the main stuff, like you would say, like for Nintendo, like Legend of Zelda and stuff. I'm catching up on my Zelda.
Oh
My
damn.
backlog list is
Zelda's like
insanely
one of my favorite games. So I've played pretty much every Zelda. It's great. They're great.
well. The one, just wondering your thoughts on it too, because the reason like I saw this is number one, like Luigi's Mansion 2 getting an HD is amazing because I
Mhm.
played all of them except Luigi's Mansion 2. I have a copy, but I don't have a 3DS. I what I consider myself is a hybrid gamer. I will
Mhm.
emulate if I can. I like to have the physical copy of that stuff, but I'm one to where if I can just emulate it and make it look pretty without having to mod anything and
Mhm.
buy like, HD converters and stuff like that, that's what I'm going to do. Or like
Sure.
and I'm also there for more on the purist side too because with all like I really respect like the modding community and the translation community,
Mhm.
fan translations, because there are some games out there that will never get brought over here, but there's
Mm.
groups that do it. I try to get the game in its purest form, like the way the creators wanted it without any censoring or woke bullshit being fisted in its
Sure.
asshole. Um, but that's kind of where I go to. But Luigi's Mansion 2 is one of the ones where it's really hard to emulate still for whatever
Mhm.
reason. So I'm just super happy that they're finally doing an HD one. But the reason with the file size is interesting. Did you hear about the Star Wars Battlefront where people were freaking out because it's like 50 gigabytes?
What? No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. No.
So like it was just one of those weird tie-in articles because it says Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is only 5 gigabytes, and then your Luigi's Mansion is 3 gigabytes. They're both the remaster, and it sounds like they're not touching anything, which is really good,
Mhm.
sort of thing. But I just thought it was funny because kind of tying in with like the gigabyte like size file thing. It's just like why? Like, why is this Star Wars? And this is from Microsoft. Interesting, dude. MSN is pretty cool because it gathers articles from different like stuff, sort of thing, which I find interesting. But I
Mhm.
like going to like niche gamer and bounding into comics and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection controversy grows as modder claims their work was used without credit and then removed.
Oh shit.
But
I'm beginning to feel insulted. What a great quote.
oh yeah, I'm beginning to feel insulted. But just I thought I pulled this up because I thought it had the original Star Wars collection hasn't had what anyone could call a good start at launching with major several server
Server
issues and an
issues.
enormous
Mhm.
file size around 8 times the size of both the original games.
That's insane.
And I'm let's see. For the context, when both Star Wars Battlefront, I opened up another page. I don't know if it showed up.
Mm-mm.
So when this came out on Steam, people figured out that with the combined two games, you only need 7.3 gigabytes of storage.
Okay.
Okay. So with this new collection, with both games, added content and enhanced features, guess around how many gigabytes the
I'm
game
getting like 80.
you're close. 62 to 72 gigabytes.
Oh, damn. Yeah, because I
Depending
was like thinking like I mean it's 30 plus 30 if they're doing 30 plus 30 and I figured like, some extras. They gave him a little bit more. but damn.
But then the Steam page notably says 50 gigabytes for storage space, and people are like, it is insane for these old games.
Oh my god, yeah, that's crazy for the old games. Mind you, I will say Battlefront, like the original, was freaking great. Like that was a great game. I remember when Star Wars was good.
I'm trying to. I'm still behind. I still need. Did you ever play the Fallen Order, like the new Star Wars one?
Yeah, I did. I did.
They're pretty good. I heard the second one's
I
garbage.
mean, it's like they're both great, like in terms of like gameplay and stuff, like it's great, but in terms of story, nah, like, not
Oh,
so much.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like like it's fun to be a Jedi and like do stuff, and you're like, yeah, force push and force pull, but like story wise, it's like, it's not the best, especially the second one. It's like, oh. I just don't get like this whole like, oh, like everybody survived. Like I'm like, what fucking Jedi's? Like Order 66 is supposed to be like everyone's dead. Like that's literally the point. And then like all these people apparently survived. Like okay.
That was one of the things too when like with all the like even with the garbage trilogy that just came out too. Like it's like you had all of this like from what I've heard, because I'm not a super in-depth Star Wars person, so I don't really know a lot, but like you have the novels, and it's like, why don't you just make like a movie or a video game that's literally when all the Jedi are around, and all you have to do is have lightsaber battles, pistol shooting.
I think that's what they're trying to do with the new one, like Acolyte. Isn't that what they're trying to do? It's because it's like Acolyte's based on when the High Republic era. So now it's like they're trying to do it so that like it's the first time the Sith is coming, and they're like, oh, because there's like all these Jedis around or whatever. And so
Wow.
like now they're doing like the first Sith kind of thing. That's apparently that's what the new show is about. I don't know.
Well, I'm not holding.
I'm
my
not gonna
breath.
watch it. So.
Yeah, the way I've heard of other people. You know what? Fuck that article. We're done, sort of thing. But that's crazy.
That's big file size. That I don't know what they're doing. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing either, sort of thing. Did you ever play the Force Unleashed games? I played the first one. I didn't play the second one. That was with Star Killer, I think is his name.
It sounds familiar.
He was the one that had it was the because I remember it was back in college. It was the one where you were a Jedi, but you were
yes, I did play that.
being trained by Darth Vader, and he's the guy that holds the lightsaber. It's like I thought that one was pretty good too.
That was fun.
Still want to play the second one.
I don't remember finishing it, but I remember playing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember playing it a little bit, but I remember.
I remember starting off. There was an achievement for like killing a bunch of Wookiees in the beginning, like because you start off as Darth Vader and like the prologue, and you get off the ship and you have to like force push like X amount of Wookiees.
Oh my god, I think I remember that, and I was like, I don't want to kill Wookiees. It was pretty funny.
Well, we are at the 2-hour mark, and I am just super blessed and super humbled, Nina, that you were able to come on the show, hang out, get to hear your story, and nerd out about InuYasha and everything. But is there anything you would like to plug? Anything at all? Feel free. This is your time. Go ahead and plug whatever you would like.
Just my channel. It's Nina Infinity right here on YouTube and on Rumble. So I'm trying to grow my Rumble channel. So if you're a Rumbler, come on down. And I do a Wednesday exclusive Rumble show now for Breaking the Narrative. And sometimes I'll still do some Wednesday shows like Infinite Talk or something else. Maybe sometimes on YouTube, but not so much because I want to be able to talk more on Rumble. But of course, on Fridays, I do my show called Infinite Hope, where I try to balance out the world and bring you positive news and good news. And I'm always on Midnight's Edge on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern for Toxic Femme as well.
Awesome. Yes. Dude, super humbled, Nina, for you to be on the show. Thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me, Greg. It was a really good conversation. I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate the invite. So thank you for having me on your channel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hope we can do more. But thank you. Yeah.
You're going to have to come to my house next time.
Just let me know. And I'll definitely be there for sure. But thank you, everyone who hung out and participated and chatted. Really humbled, very blessed. You can check out Nina's Infinity's social media links in the description below. Again, I just ask, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this show. Punch that thumbs up button. million baby that a notification by breaking its neck so that you can get notified when it, I don't know. That was a pretty bad segue.
Little brutal there.
Little brutal, but
it's okay.
don't break your neck. Just put a chair out and then she trips and then
Just smash it.
just smash it. Just smash it. But thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks for your support. Keep an eye out, and we will be back next
Oh,
time.
by the way, happy Persian New Year's. It's Persian New Year's. So happy Persian New Year's, everybody.
There you go. Happy Persian New Year's. Awesome. Well, thanks again. Look at me. You got me starting to do the waves too. I was like, yeah. But thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I'll see you guys later. Until then, take care. God bless, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.